Hello, welcome to Prime Sports with me, Razak Musbau. Now, low stadium attendance continue to be a concern for major stakeholders of Ghana football who are relentless in finding solution to the menace. In view of this, the second edition of the Asempa Sports Dialogue focused on this with the hope of soliciting ideas to remedy the situation. Speaking at the forum was Honorable Bafo Ewa, Minister for Employment and owner of Ghana Premier League side in Swanshaman FC. He bemoaned the situation and called for the implementation of innovative ideas to attract fans to the stadium.
Why am I saying so? Because as a new club, one of the challenges we face, and they say, oh, by na club license if we about 1 year we are, so you spend all your money trying to get your place to qualify you to play. Stadium ho. Ube na big clubs no at top players are papa na. You can't even compete. That is why most of our new clubs no mobile yentimi and survival no. Especially those of us who are not using public facilities. But let me tell you a real story. At the beginning of the season, me catch them CEO say, come up with a budget. Na yenhu how yebe run season. So he came with a budget, a gate process, so much. I mean, who are no money aje. Afe yebobo we have busa say na say figure out the hey, so from day one, I saw that the budget is thrown overboard because your expectation in terms of process from gates were not met. And it even gets worse when the team is not even doing well. Football running is one of the most expensive ventures. And it's one business you do, people even don't have sympathy for you. Your own players don't have sympathy for you. Your administrators don't have sympathy for you. And even spectators, because they even when they want to come, they also want to enter free. Obiafi say things are easy, but it's not like that. We need people in the stadium. At least apart from the money we will make, the atmosphere, the fun of it, in itself, I encourage teams to do well. But I also agree that we need to be innovative to be able to get more and more persons.
Well, meanwhile, President of the Ghana Football Association, Kato Kreku, criticized the implementation of the electronic ticketing system, which was introduced to offer convenience in access and match tickets and improve revenue collection. According to him, most fans lack knowledge of its usage, in turn discouraging them from patronizing the games.
There are two key areas two key stadia facilities that we had big problems, i.e. the Barbara Sports Stadium and i.e. the Accra Sports Stadium. And I would want to say that one of the biggest challenges that we have faced has to do with the deployment of the electronic ticketing system. I believe in the electronic ticketing system, but I think that it was our football people were not or did not have the best of education on how it can be used. I think that if you want to deploy such a massive strategy, which clearly departs or takes all of us from the way we're used to accessing football games, it's always important for us to have a clear educational strategy that would ensure that people really understand the strategy and people accept the strategy. It's also important that we bring people along so they own the strategy, and this was not done. So clearly, since the introduction of the e-ticketing strategy, Accra Sports Stadium, the Barra Sports Stadium has seen a massive downward trend in consumption of games at both stadia. So this is a big problem, and I think that the Football Association is very much interested in engaging the Ministry of Youth and Sports on this particular strategy and see how best we can get this off as one of the challenging points in our desire to get people to come to our various stadia.
Now, we'll speak to my colleague Bismarck Ayala on this very subject very shortly, but let's get to some tennis news now, where the second edition of the Rainbow Nations Challenge Tennis Tournament, which was hosted in Ghana, came to an end yesterday at the Accra Tennis Lawn Court. My colleague Kwame Benaya was there and he filed this report.
The Rainbow Nations League Challenge aims to bring together the international community and promote networking and cooperation between nations from the continent of Africa, Europe, North America, South America, Asia, and Australia. This year's tournament was even bigger and better, with more countries and participants being involved. The event, which was a men's double, kicked off on Tuesday, February 21 to Thursday, February 23 at the Accra Lawn Tennis Club. 20 participants from 60 countries all participated in the tennis competition, but it was Italy who were crowned champions after they beat the United States of America in the finals. Roberto Garriaso couldn't hide his joy after winning the tournament.
Started this tournament with big enthusiasm, and we are very happy to win. It was not easy because it was a rally in these last 3 days. But at the end, we finally won the cup, and we are very happy of it. We are playing in this tennis club, so we dedicate as well this cup to all the colleagues that are playing with us here, and mostly to our chairman.
Grant Weber, who is the president of the Ghana-South Africa Business Chamber, has been speaking about the importance of the tournament.
It's all about raising money for investment and social cause. So our focus is on gender equality. We use sport as the vehicle, but it's to look at girls in various sporting codes who are good at something. They may be good runners or good tennis players, but we're going to help them focus on their education. So we're not developing an elite athletic program. We are focusing on unlocking the door for them, and that is all through education. We are focused on life after their sport. Do they want to be a nurse, a doctor, or a teacher? We want to enable them.
Funds were raised after the game to support charity. According to Weber, the monies will be invested in the education of some selected athletes in Ghana.
For now, we come across a couple of very interesting people. So Coach Boniface from up north of Ghana looks after an informal club of runners, and these young girls, the top 10, actually win all the races in Accra. So we know who they are. We've seen them on TV. But they don't have any money, from basic equipment to transport money, etc. So we'll certainly be using those 10 girls as our immediate program, and they range in age from 14 to 19. So we will look at their secondary education and then perhaps even university or nursing college, etc.
Deputy South Africa High Commissioner to Ghana, Tando Dalamba, was also impressed with the organization of the tournament.
You see, this year's competition, I understand that there have been 60 participants and 20 nationalities to the event. And the main purpose of this event is to raise funds for charity organizations. Last year, I understand that many of the funds that were raised were donated to the cause of the girl child in Tanzania.
That's one big round of applause for our winners. Well done to the Italian team, Roberto and Massimiliano.
From our partner station DWTV all the way in Berlin, Germany. But let's get back to our earlier conversation where the president of the Ghana Football Association has alluded to the implementation of the e-ticketing as a cause for the low stadium attendance. It's quite a very strong position to take, particularly considering how the e-ticketing system has been received by some stakeholders in the game. Bismarck Ayala joins me for this latest 10 of events on this very subject. Bismarck, it's interesting to note that, of course, this subject has been received across all stakeholders. It's one that everybody, have accepted that is a concern. But what is also a concern is the perspective some of them, seem to be sharing. In this case, President says e-ticketing should also be blamed for low stadium attendance. Bismarck, does this really, is there something in there?
Yes, there's something in there. It's legitimate, all the critics of the policy have raised issues of piloting and thought that it needed some sort of piloting before it came into force. But then the caveat is that the Ghana against Nigeria game at the Baba Sports Stadium, which was the World Cup qualifiers, was played alongside e-ticketing, and the stadium was filled to capacity. Now, along our campaign to look into the low attendance, we've spoken to the CEO of Eagle Ticketing, Mr. George Festus Mensah, who is in charge of the e-ticketing, and he has also pushed aside the blame game on e-ticketing, and he said, look, our people are now used to using Momo transactions for their daily businesses. And if anybody is able to use that, that person is capable of buying tickets online because the processes are almost the same. So if your grandfather, your grandmother can't even use the e-ticketing procedure, any of the children in the house can aid him to buy tickets. Yes, he has alluded that there have been a lot of network challenges and people seem to struggle with the processes. And he, alongside stakeholders, have come to a conclusion that they are going to have agents around the stadium and around very, very advantageous points where you go there, you have your money to buy the tickets, you are so unfamiliar with the processes, they can do it for you, or they have the ticket already bought through the e-ticketing, just the printed out, you go there, you pay, and they give you the voucher for you to go and enter. So they are trying to solve the issue. But if you speak to George, and the problem is that, look, he has been raising issues of the timing of our fixtures, the confirmation of them, because as it stands now, you can't buy advanced e-ticketing. For instance, Kotoko and Haas are coming up. If you want to go on the platform and buy Kotoko and Haas today, you will not be able to buy it. And that kind of confirmation of the fixtures that will make people buy in advance is not there.
So there's a fundamental problem of planning also in there. The planning relative to the fixtures, so people can know beforehand that okay, Kotoko and Haas is coming off maybe in April, this specific date, and they could make arrangement for tickets for that particular game to be available, and people can get them before time, so they don't have to struggle to get them on the day of the game. So that's a very legitimate concern. But also, it's the point that prior to the introduction of the e-tickets, Ayala, we know that attendance to the stadium has been an issue. Issue relative to attendance to the stadium predates the introduction of the e-ticketing. All right. So if the e-ticketing, which ordinarily is supposed to come and ensure convenience for the fans, because we know how sometimes people even find it difficult to get tickets from the traditional centers, and even relative to funds, generation of revenue, this e-ticketing has come to improve that. So, I mean, in terms of doing a balance of it, is e-ticketing not really serving a good, much more improved good for the football stakeholders than, like the president is alluding, causing more problems?
Now, it ties into yesterday our conversation about Dr. Tony Oben raising issues of when you go to Summer Boy, Bechim, and the other venues, their attendance seems to be appreciable comparatively to Kumasi, Asante Kotoko, and House of Folk at the main stadiums in Accra and Kumasi. So you understand where the president is coming from and say, look, if you go to these summer tests and other venues, they don't use e-ticketing to buy tickets, and the supporters are able to access tickets and go to the stadium. Now, yes, it is true that even without e-ticketing, attendance at these venues, main venues, were on the low. But what we are alluding to is that, yes, it has hindered it in a way, because people used to buy tickets through the traditional means. Now they have to go through a process of a shop code. People are not so much familiar with it. So the education must go up. The issues of getting agents at advantageous points so that they can easily assist people to get their e-ticketing sorted out must be there. But the FA also have a very, very chunk part of the blame with this e-ticketing subject, because they need to confirm the fixtures early. They need to confirm the timing of the fixtures, because if you are playing a game on Monday, for God's sake, you are playing it at a cosmopolitan like Accra, how many people will go out of their work schedule on that day and process tickets via the e-ticket to go and watch games? So all these things are things that the FA must watch out, must deal with it elaborately, and not only blame it on e-ticketing. Yes, it is a contributing factor, but with time, once Momo has come to stay and people are using it very, very well in their daily transactions, we think e-ticketing shouldn't be a very, very major problem if the other aspects that culminate around the e-ticketing problem are solved.
I mean, even the subject of planning, you know, these events that took place in December, we saw almost all the events, people had to buy tickets online. But crucial is the fact that, you know, purchase of these tickets for a lot of the events were done before the dates. That even gives credence to, you know, the point you're making about planning for our fixtures and the fact that they need to be there. So the GFA obviously needs to take a very closer look at it. But I mean, Ayala, of course, we are looking forward to Christian Achu's 1 week celebration. But this weekend, of course, there are some Ghana Premier League fixtures coming up. I mean, just what's your takeaway from the games coming up?
I think the one that has caught everyone's attention is the FA Cup at the Nana Jabari Stadium, Diana Stars against Kumasa and Tekotoko. You know, that fixture is very, very traditional. It goes very, very deep into the traditions of Diana and Asante Kotoko. The only win that Kotoko have gotten from there came from Prosper Ogum last season. Now, Diana is leading the pack, and they are saying, and they are throwing a warning that, look, this time around with Coach Bako City, they are not going to allow Kotoko to come to Doma and pick a point again. They are going to boot them out already. As Accra, who are the defending champions of the FA Cup, have been booted out. Diana is saying, look, you will send Kotoko packing. And Kotoko are very, very resilient. And they say, look, you look at the league table, you are on top, but this is the FA Cup where upset can happen. You will come there again and make do with the maximum 3 points and eliminate Diana. So that is a very, very fascinating feature for this weekend, and everyone is looking up to it.
Well, Bismarck, thanks very much. And of course, we'll be back to talk about the fallout from that game. That's Bismarck Ayala, my colleague with Century FM and also the head of sports over there. Just bring you a wrap of the action across Europe this weekend. And in the English Premier League, it's a big one. Chelsea versus Tottenham Hotspurs. And of course, they just start off from the Bundesliga. Man 05 and Borussia Mönchengladbach. They're already in action on Saturday. FC Cologne will play Wolfsburg. And of course, Hertha Berlin will be in action against Augsburg. Leipzig, they will take on Frankfurt, and Werder Bremen will play home there. Hoffenheim will also play Borussia Dortmund. Schalke 04 will be in action against Stuttgart. And on Sunday, it's Freiburg versus Bayern Leverkusen. And Bayern Munich, they will take on new sensation Union Berlin. Of course, in the La Liga, Elche and Real Betis game is ongoing. And on Saturday, Espanyol will play Mallorca. Cadiz will be in action against Rayo Vallecano. And Real Madrid, after beating Liverpool, they will take on Atletico Madrid, and Valencia will also play Real Sociedad. And on Sunday, it's Girona who will travel to Atletico Bilbao, while Real Valladolid also make a trip to Celta Vigo. Barcelona, after a huge loss to Manchester United, they will play Almeria, and Sevilla will also play Osasuna. On Monday, it will wrap up with Villarreal and Getafe over there. And of course, in the French League, Lille and Brest are already in action. On Saturday, Angers versus Lyon, Montpellier versus Lens. And on Sunday is Lorient versus Auxerre, Ajaccio playing Troyes, Clermont-Foot playing Strasbourg, and Nantes playing Stade Rennais. Rennes will play Toulouse, and Monaco will be in action against OG Nice. Of course, it's a big one also in France when Marseille takes on Paris Saint-Germain over there in that blockbuster fixture. And in Italy, Empoli and Napoli will be in action. Lecce will play Sassuolo. And on Sunday, Bologna will play Inter Milan. Salernitana will be in action against Monza. And Udinese will play Spezia. AC Milan, of course, will be looking to pick points against Atalanta. Then on Monday, Hellas Verona and Fiorentina will play. Lazio will also hope to get some crucial point out of Sampdoria. In the English Premier League, already underway is the game between Fulham and Wolverhampton. But on Saturday, it is a big one between Everton, relegation-threatened Everton, against Aston Villa. Leeds United will play Southampton, and Leicester City will also host Arsenal. West Ham United will play Nottingham Forest, and of course, Bournemouth will also host Manchester City. Crystal Palace play Liverpool, and on Sunday, it is the London derby between Tottenham Hotspur and Chelsea Football Club over there. And of course, there's a big one, final Carabao Cup between Manchester United and Newcastle United. And Erik ten Hag, he's looking forward to clinching Manchester United first trophy in 6 years. That's how we draw the curtains on tonight's edition of Prime Sports with me, Razak Musbau. There's so much more on myjoyonline.com/sports. I did this with Kwame Benaya and the entire team. Do have a lovely evening.